good natural resources, fantastic. Fertile ground, right, for agriculture, fantastic, you guys. Your brains are thinking, very good. This is exactly what we can find here. In Judaism, guys, I didn't say it on the way to Jerusalem, but in Judaism, it's customary not to have the people buried within the borders of the city. So when we were driving to Jerusalem yesterday, we passed a big cemetery. The cemetery of Mount of Olives was back then outside the walls of the old city. We're going to find a burial site here. And this is outside the first original city of Jerusalem. So when we're talking about having Jesus buried here, it makes perfect sense. Archaeology-wise, it is outside the walls. It is outside the city of Jerusalem back then. We're going to talk about it as well. We're going to be able to see the walls. When we're talking about Jewish traditions, we know that this place was a place of crucifixion, was a place of burial that is not within the borders of the city. Today, everything that you see around you guys is the eastern part of Jerusalem. No Jews really live here. Muslims live here in this area. But it's very, very welcoming for people from all over the world to come and respect this holy site. For me, coming here is really, really special. But as a Israeli right now, I'm also aware of the sensitivity of the past few days. So I wouldn't necessarily come and hang around this area of Jerusalem when I'm by myself. A few sentences about what's going on in the past couple of days, just to kind of frame it for you guys. Because I was talking about the police, remember, on the bus. In the past couple of days, things got a bit more intense when it comes to the security in Jerusalem. Last week there was a terror attack, and the terrorists that made the terror attack shot 2 police officers, and they escaped running from the police to Temple Mount. Temple Mount, remember, today is held by the Waqf. The Waqf is in charge of the holy sites for the Muslims. And it was a bit problematic whether the Waqf was helping the terrorists or not, because when they escaped, they went up to Temple Mount. What happened in the past couple of days, guys, that made it very, very complicated, is that Israel put metal detectors in the entrances to Temple Mount, which made a lot of protests of the Muslims against it. They should have the freedom of religion, they should have the freedom of movement, not being checked. The Israeli police forces said that just like any holy site in the world, like if you go to Mecca, or even the Western Wall that we went to yesterday, remember we had to go through a metal detector? Because things have got more complicated recently, Israel says they have the right to place it there. Today is the biggest prayer days for the Muslims, and Arabs from all over Israel are making the way from the north, from the Galilee to Jerusalem to protest against it. I just read on the news, so they had a huge discussion about it all night, all the parliament, and they came to a decision this morning that they're going to keep the metal detectors, and they're going to limit the entrance age to 50 and up. So for young people, they're going to be checked and searched, and only after being checked and searched, some of them will get permission to go to Temple Mount and pray. You can understand the complexity, right? You can understand why it's a problem. If I'm going to tell you that right now, Pastor, you cannot pray. Pastor, you have to do this and that in order to be in your holy space, that hurts people's feelings. But you have to understand that the picture here is very, very complicated because the events that took place. I'm just hoping, this is a personal prayer of mine, that the next time you guys will be here, and I'm sure there's a next time, because Israel is addictive. You're hooked, asked Pastor. Once you're here, you're gone for good, whether you like it or not. It's a part of your soul. My prayer is just, next time you're here, if you're meeting a tour guide or an Israeli, it doesn't matter. I hope that things are genuinely quiet and peaceful, because at the end of the day, It's two people wanting the same things. Somewhere along the way communication gets broken, but it is possible. I'm very optimistic. So if we can start the day with a wish for something, or that is my wish for some peace and quiet in this area. So have us in your hearts and minds when you pray for this place.